So first I wanted to say this is Toronto Prep School. I hope you're in the right place. If not, stay and chat a bit. It'll be fun. This is my mother, Fuli, co-founder. I'm Pete. I work in admissions with my mom. It's the best. We sit 1 foot away from each other at all times. Except, I'll tell everyone, I have my phone here on ring. My wife is 9 months pregnant. So if the phone rings, I have to, and Sarah's coming up. If the bat phone rings, I'm going to have to, I don't know what's going to happen.
I'll just have to take over. You're going to have to take my car and go.
It's our third kid, so Jen kind of knows what she's doing anyway, so I'll probably just stay. Welcome, Sarah. Welcome, everybody. We're just saying how we're going to run the event. So basically what's going to happen is, and this was under direct orders from our kids, what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce the school, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to introduce the panelists, let everybody know that there's pre-circulated questions that I'm going to pointedly ask our panelists. First, our alum, I'll get to her in a second. And then our parent, I'll get to her in a second, which will be great. After my pointed questions, there'll be time for question and answer from the audience. As we go, you can use the chat function and write in. But depending on how many people are still on at the end, maybe we'll have people ask themselves.
Sure.
I think that would be fun. So then you don't have to listen to me talk the whole time.
Right.
But yeah, if you have any questions, please write it in the chat. Jason will then message me if there's a bunch around the same thing, and we'll get to everything. So I hope everybody gets the lay of the land. As I said, we're Toronto Prep School. You can find all the information on us, the nuts and bolts, online. Our website, Jason's going to put the link to our website in the chat. Also, Jason, I love dumping stuff on Jason in real time. Jason's also going to put our YouTube channel up there. We've kind of started doing these professional videos, Mom, that
we've been having a lot of fun with.
I was going to say they're a big hit, but yeah, we've had fun with them. Jason put up our application on the chat as well. And anything else that anyone's unsure of, message on the chat and Jason will take care of it. We've been around since 2009. Shay can attest for that. I'll get to Shay in a second. She was with us in our first year. But I think tonight is much more about getting to know our alum and our parent, and not us specifically, because you probably know a little bit about us. So I will run through, without further ado, a brief introduction of Shay and then Astrid, and then we'll get to Shay. So Shay can just sit there because I'm going to pour over her and brag about her. And Shay does not do that herself, but I'm allowed to do it because I've known her for over 10 years.
Very humble.
Shay's very humble. So Shay, obviously, oh my God, it's like I was going to say Johnny Carson, but that's, okay, anyway, Jimmy Kimmel. So Shay Mandel is a TPS grad. Shay was with us in our inaugural year. So when we started that year, we had 70 students. It was very intimate. By the end of the year, we had 92. And actually today, we just checked, we have 423 students. We've tried to keep that same family atmosphere the whole time, and Shay can attest to that. We'll get to that. Shay's educational journey is an amazing one, and it includes a plethora of degrees. First of all, Shay did her undergraduate degree in kinesiology from Wilfrid Laurier University. She also earned a teaching degree from Wilfrid Laurier University, and Shay became an Ontario certified teacher in 2015. Furthermore, Shay earned her chef training certificate from George Brown College, which is fascinating. And we'll get to that. We didn't teach Shay how to prepare food or anything culinary, but hopefully some of our skills that she learned here transfer to that. I want to read a brief little synopsis of Shay and what she's been doing because it was really well written. And I can't say better than this website did. So Shay, in her 12 plus years working as a chef, she has worked with some of the most renowned chefs in Canada. For instance, Jonathan Goodyear, executive chef for Magna Golf Club and finalist of Top Chef Canada Season 3. Shay has held various positions in all aspects of the industry, from pastry and large quantity production to fine dining. During her career as a chef, Shay had the opportunity to train many people in various positions. It was through this training that she discovered not only her love for cooking, but her passion for teaching, which we love. While working as a student teacher for the Waterloo Regional School Board, Shay organized and implemented various cooking and after-school programs and events, falling in love with teaching youth how to cook and bake. She held the position of camp lead instructor for a culinary program in Waterloo, where she developed the curriculum and lessons for the entire school. During this experience, she had the privilege of teaching over 320 students of all ages in culinary ability. Since then, Shay had a vision of opening her own children's cooking school in Toronto. And this dream has indeed become a reality with the birth of Rooks to Cooks. So Shay will not plug her own business, but I will, and it's a wonderful idea. It's called Rooks to Cooks. Look it up online. It's a wonderful, wonderful idea. And we actually have some plans for Shay in the future.
We hope to work with her in the future.
We hope to work very closely with her in the future, but I've said too much already. Okay. Now we're going to move on to Astrid Fisher. Astrid is our mom that's here. It's our parent. we have known Astrid. So my mom and I have known Astrid for over 10 years now in actually a bunch of different capacities. Astrid's spouse works at TPS, and he's actually the head of the math department. Also, and most importantly for today, obviously, Astrid is a mom of a TPS student. Astrid's daughter, Ariana, just started grade 7 with us. Furthermore, Astrid herself has experienced private school education on 3 different continents. So we thought it would be perfect to pick Astrid's brain. Astrid was born in London, and I interrupt myself to say, we're very privileged that Ariana and Astrid and Steve decided to send us Ariana because she's an amazing student, an amazing girl. And since she was 2 years old, like, please bring her to our school, please bring her. And she did, anyway. So Astrid was born in London in the UK. I have an affinity for England too. We'll probably get to that. My mom's an Anglophile. That's the reason Astrid, we really bond.
Nice, very good.
So Astrid lived there with her family until she was 7 years old, when at that time the family decided to move to South America to live in Quito, Ecuador, and Lima, Peru. She spent a year in Quito at a French-Spanish private school. Then her parents, and I quote, Astrid wrote this to me, sent me hastily back to the UK for school, where she attended boarding school from age 8 to 17. At 17, Astrid came to live in Toronto and attended grades 12 and 13 as a day girl at the Bishop Strong School, so BSS. And I also know that Astrid loved BSS, which makes it especially pertinent to ask her, and I'll do this later, why she entrusted us with Ariana's education and not BSS, because we know BSS is a wonderful school, and Astrid, I know, had a wonderful time there. So we'll talk about that after. After high school, Astrid went on to study art history at McGill, which we're U of T alum. McGill's the second best school in Canada. I will die on that hill. So now my mom, the last panelist. This is my mother right here next to me. Fuli's been in education for over 30 years now. I don't like to date you, but it's true. Over 30 years, taught for 21 years. Been doing admissions for the last 10, vice principal, co-founder of this school, wears a bunch of hats. I don't know, guidance counselor, vice principal, parent liaison, student liaison. I can go on and on and on. But basically, what I tell everybody on the admissions tours, the virtual ones now because of COVID, obviously, is that everybody at this school goes through my mom. That means students, it means parents, it means teachers. It's my mom's vision to make sure that this place is the right fit for everybody. And my old joke used to be, and it's true, that my mom even chose the toilet paper that was in the bathrooms here in day one. My mom even washed the dishes the first year for staff. So
and slept here on many a night.
many a nights, right in the couch behind us. If we get time, we'll show you the office. My mom is on the panel too, but there's no pointed questions to you, Mom, tonight.
No,
but
tonight the stars are Astrid and
that's
Shay.
right, absolutely. So without further ado, now I'm going to pose the pointed questions to Shay. And then when Shay's done, I think there's 6 questions. We're going to move on to Astrid, and then we're going to do a big conversation. So Shay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, you sound great. I can hear you, and I hope everyone can hear you and see you as well. If there's any technical issues, please write in the chat, and we'll try to fix it right away. So Shay, who I've known since you were 17, what did you appreciate most about the school during your time there? And how has your perspective on that changed now that you have some distance from the school?
I would say that I appreciated the most out of anything else the relationships that I built with each and every one of you guys, but also my teachers. Because up until joining you guys, to give the group some context, I was in public school, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11. Who would jump ship in literally grade 12 year. And for me, everything I got going on except my grades, okay? I was the captain of this, I was the captain of that, I was the chef of this club, I was that, but I just didn't really care about my grades too much. And I never really bonded with any of my teachers. And I just thought that was just me. Maybe I wasn't a good student, maybe they didn't like me. So I was apprehensive to come to TPS and obviously jump ship. All of my efforts towards my social standing, leave that behind and come to something brand new with 3 kids in my bio class. Like, what social standing is that? I would say that I appreciated the relationships that I built, which were the foundation for everything from then on. Just my appreciation for my own grades, my intrinsic motivation to do better at school, to care. It came from the relationships I built with them, honestly. And I would say that that's what I appreciate the most.
That's nice to hear. That's really nice to hear, Mom. So Shay, now this is a question that I get asked all the time. It's really hard to answer, but you're in a perfect position to answer because, like you said, you went to a different school.
Mhm.
So what, to the best of your knowledge, most differentiates the school, TPS, from others?
I would say not only from my experience, like actually participating in school, I did go to private school for the first couple of years of my elementary school. And then from then on, I was public. And then I came to you guys for my last year in high school, but also my career, I'm in private schools and I'm in schools all the time. So from what I've gathered from my personal experience and also just my experience observing schools up until this time, I would say that your attention to the individual and your dedication to building a program around that individual and ensuring that you're finding the support specific to that student, like your attention to that specific student, seeing them as an individual, and then almost like calculating in your brain, like, how am I going to best support this person? You don't just see them as another student and another number, but you really see them as who they are, what do they need, and then you contribute that, you give that to them. So I'd say that.
We're trying to do that, Shay, so thank you.
I know, but it's true, you do.
And these weren't scripted answers, everybody. We didn't send Shay a script to read. This is it's very nice to hear from one of our best alum. Okay, Shay, if this is a fun question. If the school were to be represented as a single person, what would its personality be like in only 3 words? Oh God.
I don't know. That's a hard question. And yes, you did send me the questions, but honestly, I didn't look at them. So I don't know. Okay, 3 words.
3 words, Shay.
Inviting, like welcoming, inviting, warm, but also, type A. Like, you're kind of like a mix of all of this. You're warm, you're inviting, and you're type A and supportive, I would say. Yeah, that's your personality.
I'm not Shay, you want to go on more than 3 words? That's fine with me.
I'm sorry. I'm not a rule follower.
Wonderful. This is a great question too. What one thing would you change about the school for the better if you had to choose something?
It's hard to say because honestly, the things that I was alumni, like I was the first year, everyone. I was literally one of the first students they ever had. And I'm talking, it was like a half a floor. And, like I think I had like 12 people in my graduating class. It was so small, and yet they did it so well then. They've evolved so far from that point. And so at that time, I think I could have used more extracurriculars because that's what got me going. Like, I think I even forced you guys to let me start a school store, and you're like, okay, fine. But I think extracurricular is where it was lacking. However, you've come such a far way from that point. So in terms of do I still think you need to work on, or what you can still add or grow, maybe, I don't know if you're even doing this, but more opportunities in the community. So not just like, all right, you have gym, you have these subjects, but perhaps like offer some opportunities where the kids can get their hands dirty and go into the community and do more good. So create more opportunities for those types of activities. I know you do some of that already, but that's something that I'm a big believer in, and I'm trying to push for the world anyway. So why not do my vendetta, do a little bit of my dirty work, get the kids in the community.
And Shay is, again, very humble. Shay was always a wonderful athlete, always, I don't want to say popular, but like a natural leader.
Yeah.
Students always gravitated
Always
to
willing
Shay.
to volunteer, always willing to help.
Always. And Shay isn't just saying this empty. I know Shay gives back to the community a lot, and it's really important. Shay, and actually, I guess I can give this news. We just partnered with the World Wildlife Fund and Eco Schools. I just got the official email today. That's why it's fresh in my mind. So Shay, we are going to do now, of course, safely and distanced, but taking care of our environment first and foremost. There's a bunch of things planned, which is really cool.
We want to get our Eco School designation. So that's what we're working on now.
That's right. So basically what happens is all the parents, you fill out tons of paperwork. The virtual paperwork is up to here, right? Tons of paperwork and kind of where the footprint is now. And then basically it works on how much you improve. So even if you're amazing, you can always improve. And if you're horrible, you can always improve. So we're excited to do that. Okay, Shay. What would families find most surprising about this school?
I would say only because I was surprised. I visit every year, by the way. I haven't just been like, okay, cool, graduated, and then now I'm on this panel. I've been checking in on them as the years have gone by, and every time I go there, it's like, what? When did this happen? There's this huge wing that you're like, when did this come into fruition? And you walk in there thinking it's going to be this small little school, and then all of a sudden it's actually massive, and there's all these corridors and places to go. And what I also really like about the setup of the school is that you have all these like little pockets for community building for the students too. So I guess in so many words, I'd say what's most surprising is, yes, it's a small private school, but it's actually quite large. And when you think about there's over 400 students, now it makes sense, right? But I think maybe some people would consider you a very small private school. But then they come to know that actually you've got a lot more going on than they would have thought.
And I like how Shay said that. Basically, what we've tried to do is take, like Shay said, she was on, boots on the ground, first floor, and it was great. We took the whole graduating class to New York City for their grad trip. Like that, it was a very small school feel, and we've tried to keep that by limiting the class size to 16, doing all these things where we can expand, but it's not just exponential growth for the sake of growth. It's only expanding if we can continue to have that same feel. And that's something we're navigating. It's been 12 years or 11 years since Shay's been here. So we're trying to navigate that as we go. Okay, Shay, here's the big one. I think the one that everyone's waiting for, okay? What advice would you give to students just entering TPS or thinking about going to TPS?
I would give them the advice of coming in and being dedicated to putting in what they would like to come back to them. Like, you're not just another student, but try and come into yourself as like a community member, and try your best to put into the school, give to the community, give to the teachers, give to your peers, have a positive reaction. Don't just expect that you're going to be the one to get. Come in with that mentality of putting in, because you will get, and you'll get more and more and more from that attitude. So yeah, I think just be confident, come in, choose to put energy into the school and give back in whatever way feels authentic. That's what I would give the advice to that person.
It's great life advice, Shay, even for
Everything.
for everything.
I just wanted to mention that when I first met Shay, it was in the dining room of her home, because we didn't have our premises yet. Like we just rented it. We're painting and putting up classrooms and everything else. So I had to go to people's homes to try and sell them this program, my vision, our philosophy on education and everything else. I remember this bubbly girl coming down the stairs, hair in a ponytail, saying she only had so much time because she was running off to school to help paint the backdrop of some drama performance that was happening. And I picked up on her energy. I picked up on her positive energy that she had. And when I started talking to her about school, all of a sudden she lost some of that enthusiasm when it came to some of the courses she was taking, because she really wanted to get into kinesiology, and she was struggling with some of the science. Remember that, Shay? And she'd lost some of that confidence that I saw just a minute ago when she was going to go in and do this thing and do that thing. And I thought, oh no, I need to take this girl. I need to put her in our school and teach her and help her and tell her that she's got it all together and she could do what she wants, just because she had the positive energy. And we hit it off, because I remember her parents looked at me and said, okay, well, we'll make a decision. And she looked at them and said, I'm going to TPS. I got to go to school now, but I'm going to TPS. And that was it. And then she came in and she made our school such a better place, just by that energy and helping others and going to class and working hard and doing her homework. And the success is incredible. And it's all Shay. It's all you, honey. 3
degrees, started her own business, and not just in the business of educating. And I think sometimes with private schools, especially, you get this, it's, private's, educational business. Yeah, but it's still education. And as long as education is much more than the 50%, it's not an equal marriage. And Shay does that. Shay is passionate and cares about her students, which is so nice to see.
And that's why she's successful.
And that, exactly. And also, now that we're talking about Shay, and Shay is so passionate about social justice, we got a great question. And the question is, and I said I would wait to the end, but now that we're on the topic, the question is, how does the school support social justice issues in our community? a lot of ways. And I wish that we had something set up when Shay was here, because she would have loved this class. We offer a course called Social Justice and Equity. Also, we have hired 2 consultants, Rain and Bernice Carnegie, to teach the staff and our students about
Racism.
anti-Black racism and anti-Indigenous racism specifically through their company called Own Aces. So we've outsourced that, so then senior admin, teachers, faculty can infuse the school with pertinent issues. So that's how we handle it. And I think that was from Leo's dad, Pete, who sent that in. So it's too bad that students like Shay didn't have access to that course, because Shay would have really run with that. And students like Shay have inspired us to, you know, sometimes we get caught up and this happens. And I'm sure Astrid and Shay know this too. You're so into your homework and you got to get into school. And I did it too as a student, right? I got to do my work. I need my average to be high, and I'll do this because it goes on my resume when I apply to schools. But sometimes it's nice that you can marry the two and make something, the curriculum, make that help the community as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to make one quick point, because you guys are so kind, honestly. Like I don't, it's not even about my success, but I do attribute where I am now very much based on the fact that I was with you guys that year, because you guys gave me something which was this intrinsic motivation, and it came from an angle of not, I'm your teacher, do my work, which is what I was so used to. And I'm sure many people who are participating in this panel, child has felt that way, and children in general with regards to motivation. The key here is you need to find a way to develop intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation, it comes from them. They want to be the best version of themselves. They want to go off and learn. They want to do this work. They want it because they want it, not because anyone else wants it. That is the key to youth and success for youth. I don't know what their equation is, but I'm a stubborn Taurus. I don't even know how, Fuli got me to come to school, because I was so against private school. When she came over to my house, I was like, I'm not leaving my paradise that I built for myself. Nope, who needs grades? And then 5 minutes later, I fell in love. We fell in love with each other, and I'm going to school, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. And I'm serious about that. And I'm someone who takes my word very seriously. And I really appreciate everything that you guys did for me. Honestly, I love you so much.
That is so nice, Shay. And we'll
come back to you with a question.
Yeah, we'll riddle Shay with hard questions later from the audience, which will be great. We'll make her squirm later. So now we're moving on to Astrid. And Astrid, wait a second. I have the questions here. Just to circle back for some of our late joiners, not late, but people that popped in. Astrid is a mom of Ariana. Ariana's in grade 7. Astrid's also married to Steve, who's our head of math. Astrid had her own wonderful, multiple private schools that she attended, some day school, some boarding school. So Astrid has a really wonderful perspective on private education. And we'd love to pick her brain just like everyone else wants to hear from her. So Astrid, why I love it. Can you get Astrid from London, which we love? Okay. Why did you choose TPS originally for your daughter?
So my husband, Steve, he's been at TPS for 11 years. He landed his dream job of teaching physics and math, big for him. And we had a little infant. She was 4 months old. And I used to come and pick him up with the car seat, drag her into the school. And from day one, it was the warmest, kindest place. And Steve and Fuli would be like, oh, Ariana. And it was just so nice. Pete, this is before you had your kids. Maria, all the staff, just always so welcoming. And over the years, it's been 11 years, I've seen the school expand from the 90 students to the 423. And now my daughter's part of the 423. I know how hard the teachers work, how many hours they put in. They care about their students, there's feedback. I'm just blown away every day. For 11 years, just the feedback that these teachers are giving the students, the parents, there's communication, And then there's some amazing success stories. I love to hear them where a student has perhaps struggled. They come to TPS and TPS has turned them around. Those are the stories I want to hear. I don't want to hear the genius who was a genius, who was a genius. I want to hear this person had some struggles, because most of us do, and they found their way. They were guided properly and cared for, and they came out strong, thriving, and members of the community. And I've heard many stories like this. Those are important to me.
What a great answer, thank you, Astrid. And I love personally love fest going on. It's great to hear. But I say that
It fills our soul
in a joke, because multiple tours that I did in the good old days pre-COVID is you would hear my dad, principal and teacher, yelling at a student as I walked by. And it doesn't really, you think, oh my God, like this teacher's, and this kid's in homework club and they have to stay after school. And it's not that it's not academically rigorous, it is. And sometimes we do have to yell to make a point. But I think most the students know that we care about them. So they'll yelling. It's I keep saying yelling, and we're not berating the children all day, but you understand what I mean, that sometimes it's tough love, but I think when they trust you and they appreciate what you're doing, that it can work. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Astrid. In which ways is this school what you expected, excuse me, and in which ways was it not?
Okay, well, I knew it was going to be amazing. I expected that, and I wasn't wrong. It's actually even more amazing, because I knew the staff were incredible. I knew the teachers were amazing. I knew this was the right fit for Ariana. I knew 11 years ago that this is where I would like my daughter to go to school. There were other options in Toronto, but it was TPS. And sorry, where am I? The question?
Not what you expected, Astrid. How are we not what you expected?
Oh, I don't even think, that doesn't even enter my mind. Like, it's just like the community itself, the parents, there's so many things that are working that I love, but working much more than I even imagined that they would work.
So Astrid, I know that because we've talked about this before, because Astrid and I and Steve, we love to have, sit down and figure out how the world works. And I know Astrid loved BSS. And I wanted to about what you loved about BSS. Again, why then you decided BSS is a place for Ariana.
So BSS was special because there was this incredible woman, the Reverend Anne Tottenham. She was a no-nonsense woman. She was so fair and kind, and she was one of these great leaders. I didn't have that in England, a boarding school, but I found it in Toronto with her. And when you have a great leader, I think you thrive. The teachers thrive, the students thrive, and this community is built. And you hope for that for yourself as an employee, you hope for that as a student. And when I met Stephen Foley 11 years ago, I'm like, found that. They're like really good leaders. They support their staff. So nothing is done in fear. Like, no one's like, oh, you can take risks. Because I think the school environment should be about taking academic risks and feeling comfortable enough to kind of explore different ideas. And you're supported, right? I think that's important, right? That you support your staff, your teachers, so that they can do the best possible job. And I think that's where the real learning comes about. And Stephen Foley are those people. I've never seen it in any other school except for at BSS. And that was, 25 years ago. So this was really important to me, and I found it. And I think my husband has found it too. And I think it's important for both of us, right, to be around a very strong, leadership.
What a nice answer, Astrid. It's nice to hear about your parents. Personally.
Yeah, no, Stephen Foley are just outstanding individuals. I have so much respect for them, hardest working people, and there's a warmth about them. They're not stuffy. Like, I went to school in England and the principals were stuffy and you couldn't access them. It was like you were scared. But with Stephen Foley, you can approach them, and that's how it should be. And it is that way. But it's not that way everywhere, right?
Well, we're kind of selfish about that, we'll tell you, Astrid, because the best part of teaching are the kids. It's not the marking.
No.
kids. And so that's why this COVID is killing us now, because we don't have the kids roaming the halls anymore, giving hello to us or going to lunch where we sit together and sit in with them, and they can tell me what they did on the weekend. And we don't have that. Because they have to stay in class, we have to keep them safe. We have to keep them in the same cohort. But at least they're having fun within their classroom. Because I do pop in just to check on them. I'll open the door and see, and I'll hear the giggling and the talking and the being engaged, and that helps. But I think the lack of stuff comes from Steve and I really enjoy being with the kids. And when you walk into Steve's office, he used to have 5, 6 sitting on the couches doing their homework. Well, he did his work at his desk, So
Yeah.
There's a story, everyone, actually. One of my favorite stories was that once upon a time, a young man here was expelled. For whatever reason, he was expelled. And a couple months went by, and I came to the school on a Saturday, and my dad was here because he's always here, and Astrid and Shay can attest to this, so he's always here. And I come here, and there's a young man in my dad's office. I said, "Oh, hey, so-and-so, what's going on?" "Oh, nothing. I go, "What are you doing here, man?" Right? Like, he goes, "Oh, I meet with your dad every week." I go, "What?" This guy was expelled, and my dad met with him every single week just to make sure. For me, that's my favorite story about my dad, because just because this might not be the right fit, it might be not the right fit for a bunch of your students, or for your kids, I should say, but we're still in the same family. That's how we treat each other.
Well, they're children, right? We
yeah.
don't kick children to the curb. If we have to ask the child to leave, there's a legitimate reason, but we work with the parents to help find them a place where they can get the help they need. And they'll be asked to leave for the year, pull their lives together, get the help that they need, and they can reapply again, because we really believe in helping children grow and develop their character, and do as much as we can to help them. And look, parents as well. And so I like when I sit across from parents in my office and they look at me and they say, "This is what I need for my child." I get it. A mother cub, a bear protecting her cubs. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. So if we can help in any way, because I had help raising my children. There were great teachers out there. There were great educators out there, community help. I appreciated every little bit of advice I got in raising my children. So giving back is really what it's all about.
And even when we're doing admissions, our job is to make sure that it's to find the right fit for the child. If it's with us, amazing, great. If it's not with us, we'll help you find what place for you. So it's very cliche, but it's true.
But it's true. Yeah.
Okay, Astrid, what is the biggest impact the school has had on your child?
You're cutting out a little bit, Pete. You're still cutting out a little bit.
Better now, perhaps?
Yes, perfect.
My big head in the window. What is the impact TPS has had on your child?
So I think the school impacted her on day one. She came back and she just did her homework. I was sort of shocked. I thought I was going to be like, "Please do your homework," or "Have you done your homework?" She's like, "I got to get my homework done." So that was a bit shocking to me, in a very positive, shocking way. And then the second day she came back, she's like, "I've got to do my homework. I'm going to push through." She's 11. She was tired. She's like, "I'm going to push through the tiredness and get this done." And I think she's doing the work because she wants to. And I asked her about this, and I said, like, what is it about the school that you love? Because she also told me that on day one. She loved her teachers, and she said they really care. And it makes a huge difference, I think, when someone cares about you, because you're doing it for a reason, right? You want to please them, you're being supported. Anyway, she's very kind of inspired by her two teachers. We've been very blessed.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now this is, you're a bit of a prophet, Astrid. I hope can you hear me?
Yeah.
What does your child have to say about this school when she gets home? That's the next question.
I love TPS. She says that. And I did know she would love it. I knew it was the right fit for her. But it's nice to hear that.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, she's like genuinely excited to go to school every day, to see her teachers and her friends. And I don't know how they've managed to make it work in this cohort of 16, but there are 6 girls in the class. Can I just tell this story? It's incredible.
Of course.
One of them is online, the 6 girls living in Switzerland. They've included her in everything. Games on the weekend, she gets included. This afternoon, one of the parents organized this fire pit social distancing thing, you know, obviously in the garden, being fire. And she was in on the Zoom call. I got this photograph. They're all the girls roasting marshmallows. And then one of them is holding up the computer with the girl's face in Switzerland. And she's participated in that. I'm like, that is a great story and a keepsake photograph. She's smiling away from Switzerland, 10 o'clock at night. She's had to push through, like she starts school Swiss time at 4 p.m. and goes right till 11.
And her sister school too.
I know. So she participates in everything. They include her in everything. Weekends, long weekends, via Switzerland. I love that.
We do too, Astrid. It's so nice to hear. Now the hard question.
Oh.
Shay got this already, so kind of prepped us. If the school were to be represented as a single person, what would its personality be like in only 3 words-ish?
Hardworking, integrity. I think kindness. Like I'm seeing like that human side. It's coming up more and more. Yeah.
We'll take that.
I could give you more, but you've said 3.
I know. That's the art kids asking that. I would never ask such a
famine on the adjectives, Pete.
We didn't come up with these questions, just to let you know. We did not come up with these.
These were under strict orders from our kids. Okay, Astrid, last official question from our kids. How would you describe the values of the school and the values of the families in the school community?
Like describing that in adjectives, like the qualities?
This is open-ended, Astrid. You could write it.
Okay, so I think the school is about fairness, inclusivity, working hard and reaching your own personal potential. And I think that is kind of echoed amongst the parents that I've met of the 6 girls, very much inclusive, get everyone involved. There's a high level of kindness, thoughtfulness, and then, you know, they want to work hard. Doing the right thing.
That's
always doing the right thing.
Our principal, my father, that's his big do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. That's circular, which he doesn't care.
It's never the wrong time to do the right thing.
He has all the.
Actually, now is the best time to keep doing the right thing. People are starved of people doing the right thing. This is when we can all step up and be better people.
Absolutely, absolutely, Astrid. So now that brings to a close the Our Kids official questions. So now we're going to open it up to questions from everybody, and I'll start it because I have one written to me. And this one is directed towards you.
Okay.
So the question is, it's really worded quite nicely, so I'll just read it. Can you quantify for me the stickiness of your program? Meaning, if I'm a student who enters a school in grade 9, how likely am I to stick with TPS through grade 12?
Very likely, very likely. We have very little attrition from year to year. When the attrition happens, usually because maybe a mom or dad has moved countries or moved provinces because of work, and children have to go off with their parents. Sometimes a very odd time we'll get a child. We had one young lady last year who had been in private school her whole life since the time she was in JK, and she just really wanted to try to go to public school for a year. And she did, and now she's back with us. So she tried it for a year, got her experience, and came back. So there's the attrition is very little from year to year. We've had a lot of children, majority of students that finishing grade 12 with us graduate.
I think everyone, oh, Jason, if you have any questions, feel free to write them here in the chat. So yeah, feel free to write them in the chat. I can read them. Or if you want, just write in the chat, I have a question, and Jason can unmute you, and that way we're not all speaking over each other if somebody wants to get some on-screen time, some camera time.
Or voice.
I have a lot of questions. everyone too. So I'll give you a couple seconds to think of it. I'm trying to think. Oh, by the way, Mom, you mentioned that we had one young man joining us but couldn't at the last minute.
Yes. This young
Give him a
man,
shout out.
I won't say his name, but this young man actually applied to Wharton and Cornell Business Schools. He got proposed, and he chose Cornell. So he's at Cornell. Another big feather in our cap from last year is the largest scholarship that is given by the Civic Leadership Program for STEM research. Was given to one of our students, Haley Monson, $85,000 scholarship, and she's going to McMaster. So we were so thrilled, and she's such an unassuming young lady, and she is hardworking and very community oriented, and just helped everyone in the class do well with all the work they had to do. She was wonderful. She was with us for a year. She came in grade 11 and grade 12, and now she's at McMaster. So she was another success story.
Oh, here we have a nice question. Why don't you have a music? Good question, Karen. But we kind of do have a music program. Almost
It's not, we're not,
it's not a big band orchestra, Ricky.
yeah, we're not so traditional in that most of our kids who are musically inclined are usually taking lessons outside of school and at a much higher level than what a grade 9 band class could provide, right? So what we've done is we've integrated technology with music. So we have music and computers as a course. As I speak to you now, we're actually building a music lab for kids to come in and compose music, develop music, do technical music, singing, vocals. And actually, we have 2 young ladies who have now graduated from the Berklee College of Music in Boston. One was for vocals and one was for music composition. So they carried it along. So we felt that instead of having classes of just band or wind instruments, where the kids would go in, and I took those classes. I learned how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. It took a year for me to learn how to play Mary on the clarinet. But we just decided to make it more technological and still keep the kids' interest in music that they do have. And we do run a music club every Thursday after school where everybody brings their instruments. We have a piano here. We have a set of drums here that were donated to us by Gord Downey before he passed away.
The late great.
Yeah. And so the kids come in and they jam, create their music, and then we have the Glee Club who come in and sing, and then they perform for us on Arts Night and at commencement.
And also, Karen, the musicians actually remind me of Shay a lot because, like I said before, we didn't teach Shay anything about culinary arts, but she's a chef. We didn't teach the girls anything about vocals, Berklee School. We didn't teach Liam how to play piano, and he's at the Royal Conservatory of Music now. So our job is to support and give learning strategies, those executive functioning skills, that educational jargon that we hope students can then segue into other aspects of their life.
Right.
Okay. Oh, Astrid, yeah.
We have to unmute.
Astrid. Is Jason unmuting Astrid, or Astrid's going to unmute? Or we're going to unmute. 1 second.
I think you just touched on a really important part of what your school stands for, and that's support. It's all about the support. You have support before school, during school with your resources, math and English, and after school, Saturdays. Like, this is a school that supports all their students. No wonder they're going to cooking school, culinary school, music schools all over the world. It's the support, right? In the academics, and just encouraged to sort of do the work.
And also, Astrid, just building on Astrid, I say this to parents all the time and students. Students will have my mom's cell phone number. They can call their principal at midnight. Some people think, oh my God, that's like getting back to Astrid's stuffy, that headmaster being stuffy in England. We're not like that. If there's an emergency, you call us right away. Etsy us, email us, Shay and I Facebook message with each other. Like, that's just how we do it. I'm just going to go down the list here, everybody, of the questions, because we had a couple come in fast and furious. Well, this one's directed towards me. Okay, great. What percentage of your graduates enter post-secondary? Okay. So the easy answer is 99.9%. In the past, let me back up. Our job is not only to get students into post-secondary, it's to make sure they do well when they're there, that they like what they're doing. So we want to look at our graduation rate as well, not just getting in. Having said that, we do have students, 99 go to university. A few do choose college over university. So Max Demott Animation Studios at the top of my head. Sheridan College Animation, we've had go. George Brown, we've had go. Shay's gone, but Shay did, double dip, did college and university. So our job is basically to make sure students can go to university. Sometimes we'll have a student come to us even in grade 7 and say, I can't go to university because of my marks. And we laugh at them. We said, or I want to be a police officer. I had this one student say, because I don't have good marks. Well, it's like, wait a minute. Being a police officer is an amazing profession. You'll do that if you want to do it. It's our job to prepare you to go to university with those transferable skills, all that educational jargon. But it's true. So that's our job, to make sure that students can go. A couple of students have taken a gap year, but for the vast majority do go.
And it's really important. For example, I had a young man whose dad was had a construction company, and he wanted to take over his dad's business. He wanted to learn how to be a project manager, and he did struggle in school. If he worked really, really hard, focused and paid attention, he would max out at about 72%. And so he worked really, really hard. At the end of grade 12, he did get into 2 universities. And he got into George Brown College and had a 4-year program for project management, which was the best in the country at the time. And so I said to him, what are you going to do? And he says, I'm going to George Brown. But Mrs. T, it was my choice. It wasn't the choice that was picked for me. I got into university. So he went in with a new attitude, went in with a sense of accomplishment because he had that choice. So we want our kids to always have choice. That's what we tell them. At the end of grade 12, we want them to have a few acceptances all around them so they could pick the school that they want to go to, pick the program they want to go to, and be happy.
I'm going to ask this next one to Shay, because Shay has been a good fit at our school. And although it was not yesterday, it was a while ago, not much has changed here. So Shay, how would you describe the best fit TPS student?
The question is, what student would be the best fit for TPS?
Run with it, pal.
I don't know if that's possible, because going back to what Astrid said, what I've said before, you take what comes to you and you celebrate that individual. So there isn't really a best fit person. It's like you're the chameleon for them. So whoever they are at the time they're coming in, they're going to be changed, of course, for the better, but you support them as an individual. But I would say, if I had to say who's going to do well at TPS, I think maybe everyone would, but the people who would shine are the people who are, who know who they are for the most part, more confident, outgoing people who want to contribute beyond just coming to school and doing their work and getting the grades and applying to university. So I think those people will definitely shine. And just what you did for me, like I think I mentioned the school store, and even that you guys didn't have a rugby team and I was playing rugby, but you helped hook me up with Greenwood and I was playing rugby for them. And just, it's like you kind of are like, hey, what do you want to do here? What are you all about? And we're going to help make that happen for you. And one of my 3 words was support, Astrid. So yeah, support.
It's true. And I think that's a very good answer, Shay. And just to elaborate on that a little bit, is I tell parents, it's all about character. It's all about the child wanting to improve. And when I've turned away kids who've come to this school who are straight A students, they're leaving a program where they're straight A students and they want to come over because they have a few friends that are here. And their attitude in the interview may be poor, or they exude some kind of behavioral issue, and I just won't accept a child that's like that. Because if that child knows everything, what can I teach them, or what can my teachers teach them? If a child's disrespectful towards their parents, especially in the interview, it speaks a lot. It tells me that there's an issue there that may pop up during class. So there was one interview where I had a young man who came in, and he obviously did not want to be in the interview. He was in grade 9. It was September. He had started grade 9 at Northern. And his parents had him later in life, and they came in and they said, we need our son to come to private school because he's in with a bad crowd. at the school he's at, and you could tell he didn't want to be there. He was just slouching in his chair. His shoulders were slumped. His arms were crossed in front of him, and he was giving me one-word answers. So the parents went on and told me about all these great qualities this child had. And then I appreciated all that. And at the end, I said, he sounds wonderful, but I'm sorry, I can't accept him because he obviously doesn't want to be here and he doesn't want to come to this school. Well, the mom started to cry. And then I looked over at the dad and he was tearing up. And I looked then at the boy, and when he saw his mom start crying, he popped right up. He grabbed his mom's hand and he said, "Mom, why are you crying?" And she said, "Because you're the most valuable thing in our lives and you refuse to take help, and I'm afraid we're going to lose you." So then he turned to me and he says, "Can we start this interview again? I want to try this again." And I said to him, "Yes, we can, only because of what you did with your mom. That spoke volumes to me, what you did with your mom." And he did come to the school, and he did graduate, and he did go to Queens for political science, and he still comes back and visits us. And I got a beautiful letter from him when he graduated. But it's all about personal relationships, and that's what Shay, I think, was trying to get to. It's all about me meeting the child, meeting the parents, hearing what it's all about, hearing what the child, listening to the child, letting that child know they have a voice. And I'm just going to move into the next question, which says, do you take children with IEPs? Absolutely. I'll read through that IEP. I'll read through that psych ed report. I will make notes. I will highlight. I will ask parents about it. I will ask the child about it. I will let the child know that just because they have an IEP does not mean they cannot do it. It just means they have a different learning profile, and we'll find a way to get the message across to help them learn. In essence, what we're going to do is help that child help himself or herself to learn. We don't want everybody to be identical. That's why we don't have a uniform. How could I expect every child to be the best that they could be when they look identical to the person sitting next to them? Right? We want them being resourceful. We want them to be proud of who they are. We want them to have self-esteem and confidence. If kids have self-esteem and confidence, they're willing to move out of their comfort zone and take those risks, the risks that Astrid talked about earlier, about the same idea with teachers taking the risks with the kids. The same thing about Shay, where she had the confidence to become and go into kinesiology, become a teacher, go into being a chef, starting her own business. This is because she thrives on that competition. She thrives on that challenge. Not afraid to fail. That's what we have to teach our kids. Failing's okay. We learn more from failure than we do from success. And if we fail, we look at it, we see what we can do differently, what we can improve on, and we move forward. And I think that's what my teachers do really well. Our teachers, when a child fails, will say, it's not to worry, it's to see why you failed. Let's improve it, let's fix it, let's move on.
And it's a very vulnerable thing, I know, for students, especially in writing, because I teach writing. And it's very vulnerable, right? Like, you're putting yourself out there and it's super scary. And if the students don't trust the teachers doing it, it doesn't, like, we've beaten a dead horse, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So Mom, we have our next question here. It is, what percentage of applicants to grade 7 and 9 are you able to accept currently? Are you getting more applicants now that you are able to accommodate?
Yes, because we went to 3 grade 7 classes, because we're keeping our grade 7 or all our classes at 16. Whether they're at home doing virtual school or they're at school, it's still 16. So we added a grade 7 class, so we have more space in grade 7. And we were full in September, but because we're doing our expansion right now, we hope to have it ready for November the 10th. We are able now to take on some more grade 9, 10, 11, 12 students for the second quadmester, which starts on November the 10th.
Anybody else have, we got through all our chat panel questions.
We have 3 minutes.
We have 3 minutes to chop it up and figure it all out. Does anybody have any questions? Now I think, feel free to unmute and jump in. And
you can unmute everybody if you want.
What are we
Jason.
eating for dinner, Lisa? I don't know. I know we're at the dinner table. It's so good.
I have a question. Oh, just the topic of university versus college actually made me think, like, because now I'm starting to get more involved with like Skills Ontario and like supporting trade, because clearly we don't have enough trade workers, and trade is a phenomenal, there's so many phenomenal careers in trade. You make such good money, it's a good job, you know, good work-life balance. And a lot of people, I would be sure, a lot of people potentially coming to your school, I sure was one of those people who education and intellect wasn't necessarily my forte. I probably could have done a great job being an electrician, you know, but at the time, there wasn't any support for trade work. It was all go to university. And I think a lot of people still have that mentality. So my question to you guys is, do you have any intent or ideas of potentially supporting more trade direction? You know,
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is with the trade, it's all about skills again, the executive functioning, right? So whether you go to college or university, you still have to be organized. You still have to be able to write a sentence, write a paragraph, take notes out of a book, take notes off the board, write a test, study for a test. So we have enough classes here for kids who are not university bound, but still need to graduate from high school and then apply to college. So this is our contribution to that. So we have a lot of things with tech courses, for example. We have drama and we have art. We have photography, film and video, marketing. We have enough classes that the children, once they fulfill the course, mandatory courses that they have to take to graduate. We also offer the applied math now and the college math, because, you know, if you go into college or into a liberal arts program at university, you don't need the academic maths. So we have allowed some streams where kids can come with different backgrounds and different abilities and still have the confidence to continue on post-secondary, whether it's college or university. We never poo-poo college. I'm sorry, there are some college courses out there that blow the pants off any university course and program that you want to take. We, as educators, want to get you to the next level, keep you at the next level, and we want you to bring the passion of what you want to study. No judgment anywhere, and it's equally as important across the board.
And really too, Mom, I know, like, my sister and I, it's also helping students realize how they learn and to be honest about it. For instance, my sister can read something and remember it like that. I realized I would try that, I couldn't do it. I had to record my own voice, you know, the dulcet tones of my own voice, into my iPhone and play it back after lecture. And then I'd remember better. It's a small little example, but I'm an audio learner. And once I figured that out, it was a little late for me. It was in university. My life got so much easier. So it's our job also to help students realize what they're good at, what they're not so good at, how to work in any given regard, and then to self-advocate and say, I need this way, or I work better this way.
Well, it's 8 o'clock. That's perfect timing.
Dismissed. Everyone's dismissed.
Thank you so much for everybody who participated, especially to Astrid and especially to my day. I can't tell you how much I enjoy my job and how much we enjoy your school and how blessed I feel because I have my whole family that works with me. But the fact that I get to work with children, it just keeps me young and it keeps me happy. And I really believe there's no better job out there than working with kids. And I'm sure Shay can agree with that, with working with their little rooks, the cooks. So I thank you so much for sharing this time with us and answering all our questions. And I hope for those who have visited us and learned a little bit about us that you'll go to our website, you'll hand in an application. If you don't want to do that, you just want to call the school and speak with me, you can. If you want to set up a private Zoom meeting with myself or Pete or both of us, you are absolutely welcome to do so. So thank you very much.